Okay, welcome all to Trick Talk with Rish. We are on episode number 5. This is going to be slightly different format to the previous 4 episodes that you've seen. And we are going to be discussing a very interesting topic today, as India and England are set to clash in Lucknow for match number 29. The Indian team led by Rohit Sharma has maintained an unbeaten record in the tournament, winning 5 out of 5 games, while Englishmen have had a forgettable World Cup so far. A victory for India in Lucknow would almost guarantee them a spot in the semi-finals, whilst Joe's Butler-led team will be facing a do-or-die situation on Sunday. In this space, we'll discuss various topics, and we'll straight away jump into the how the pitch is going to behave. We've seen that the average score here, I think if I'm correct, has been about in the 245 range so far, but I think in the World Cup it's been a lot more. So let me start off by asking a question to Rish. Rish, what do you think, depending on the average scores in Lucknow, what do you think India or England should be doing when they win the toss?
Okay, so Mr. Narayan, so as you all know, Lucknow is a bit different compared to the other venues in the World Cup. We have seen grounds like Dharamshala, Mumbai producing high scoring grounds. But Lucknow, compared to them, is a slightly slow pace. It has a various bounce. Like if you see the slower ball, much grip on the surface. So I think considering the fact how the pitch will go along the 100 overs which will be played, the team winning the toss should ideally bat first because the pitch will eventually get slower as the game progresses. So I think whether India or England both win the toss, their option might be just to bat first. That will be one of the reasons, and probably the second reason will also be the heat factor. No team is really comfortable fielding in the heat in the first half. So I would say that team winning the toss will look to bat first tomorrow.
That's quite an interesting perspective because what I've been reading is that I think the team that has been chasing has probably been winning, but I don't know really the record. If you go back even to the previous games, not just this World Cup, but even the previous games. But it's a very interesting perspective that you bring to the table. I don't know, what do you think, Sriram?
Hi Narayan, hi Rishabh, how are you guys? Nice to see you,
Good.
and thanks for inviting me to this special show, your episode 5. So I'm privileged and honored to be part of this. So yeah, speaking about the average score in Lucknow, the first game which we witnessed in Lucknow was South Africa versus Australia, for which you know what really happened. 311 for 7 scored by South Africa, and then Australia were crushed 177 for 10. And followed by the next game, Sri Lanka versus Australia. Australia had their second chance in the same venue, out of which Sri Lanka were all out for 209. And Australia could chase it down, say, with the loss of 5 wickets, and in 39 overs or so, they chased it down. And when you go to the next game, which is Netherlands and Sri Lanka, I wouldn't rate Netherlands as the top team, but still they managed to score 262 for 10. And Sri Lanka chased it down, say with the loss of 5 wickets and within 48 overs. So as I see, it's a bit dicey wicket. And one match, it slowed down completely. The other match, it kept going. Although Netherlands is not known to be a very high scoring team, I feel that this wicket has a lot of potential for a high scoring match. I probably would put my money in for a 300 plus game tomorrow. And also, one thing that we need to know is Lucknow ground is one of the biggest grounds in the Indian World Cup. So that's also something that we have to look into. 300 is what I predict.
And what do you think the team winning the toss should be doing?
So if you ask me, I would say that this is going to be India versus England. So India are on a roll, and England, they keep saying that they are the defending champions, but they've been very offensive and offending right now. They are offending themselves, they're attacking themselves. They've not been in the groove. I feel that if India wins the toss, they have a tendency to always bowl first, but I feel they haven't really been challenged to defend a total. So this is where they have to take this opportunity, and no matter what the conditions are, they just have to bat first, put up a score, and see how good they are and how strong enough they are to defend a score. I know there is a bit of a gap in their squad. They don't have the balance of bowling because of Hardik Pandya, which maybe we can eventually discuss in the following topics for today.
Great, great, interesting. So, I mean, given that England were whittled down for like 150 or in their previous game with Sri Lanka, that's certainly going to be weighing in the back of their minds. So I wonder, given what you guys now think based on the wicket, what should their team composition be? Are they going to be looking at a combination of pace and spin, dominated by pace? Or are they going to be bringing in more spinners into the fray to basically get India down to maybe even less than 250, given that you're kind of predicting a 300 plus score? What would their strategy be in terms of picking up the team, both England and India? So I'll go with Rish first.
Okay, so if you ask me, I think the Lucknow pitch does suit spin more. We saw the game against Netherlands versus Sri Lanka, how Roller van der Merwe, Aryan Dutt got a lot of purchase. They actually did almost, if you go to see, they choked Sri Lanka a bit in that middle phase. But it was Sadira Samarawickrama who took Sri Lanka eventually closer to the victory line. So I think if you go to see for England's perspective, they already had Moeen Ali in the previous game which they played. So that is an automatic inclusion. He'll be in the squad. But regarding my point about the slower cutters sticking more into the surface, I think possible change for them might be to bring in Sam Curran in place of David Willey, because he not only brings the variation in bowling, but he also has a good understanding about the Indian team as well. So even in his batting can be an advantage. As far as India is concerned, I would feel we might bring in R. Ashwin tomorrow, because I think this is a pitch which will surely help him compared to where we have played in the before. We played in Dharamshala. It was more which has a bit more bounce. So there was expected that he might not come into the fray even though Hardik is injured. But I do feel, considering tomorrow's pitch and the venue as it is Lucknow, I do feel Ashwin will come into play in 11 for India.
Oh, great, great. That's an interesting perspective. And Sriram, do you think the same?
Given it's going to be I beg to differ with Rishabh on this one. The first thing is David Willey is going to pose a huge threat against the opening batsman. Thing is, Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma are very much susceptible to left-arm swing bowlers, and David Willey is someone who can really take the ball outside the batsman or into the batsman. So I feel that David Willey is someone who is really needed for an England bowling lineup. And also looking at how they've been performing so far, they need someone like a Willey in the attack. And I would also say that Mark Wood is just a pure express pace. There's not much of a movement, or he doesn't have the cutters in him. So I feel that instead of Mark Wood, they would have to look into Gus Atkinson. He's an extremely talented bowler, young bowler, and I'm pretty sure that he'll make an impact coming into the side. And there is no much scope into the batting of England, because they've got everyone whom they need. So they've just left Harry Brook in the previous game. They left him out. But I don't really see Harry Brook inside the team if they really want to play the aggressor and really push. Since they already have Joe Root, they don't really need to do the aggression of, play a stroke maker, a strike rate of 100. They don't really need a Harry Brook. So for bowling, there could be only one change. Maybe I would say Gus Atkinson in place of Mark Wood. And when you come to the Indian team, I badly need Ashwin in the team, of course, but we don't have the luxury of that six bowler formula. Had there been a Hardik Pandya, definitely in place of Shardul Thakur, Ashwin would have been in. But when you've seen that Hardik Pandya was injured last game, they had to replace two people in his place. One, in place of Shardul Thakur, they have to bring a full-time seamer, which was Shami, and he did exceptionally well. And when you look at Hardik Pandya's batting position, they had to bring in Surya Kumar Yadav. He was unfortunate last game, he was run out. Shami was very fortunate, he took 5 wickets. So if I really have to see accommodating Ashwin in the squad, I really don't see a proper replacement, because it's very tough to move out Siraj or a Bumrah in place of Ashwin. Definitely, I'm not going to touch Jaddu or Kuldeep Yadav, especially against a team like England. However, if Ashwin is in, there's more chance of getting wickets, because he has a very good record against left-hand batsmen. And England have quite a few left-hand batting. So it's going to be tough, but I believe India is going to go with the winning combination of last game.
Okay, great. Now remember, folks, England now is a wounded tiger. And if you guys saw what Nasir Hussain had to say, he went ballistic on the English team after they lost to Sri Lanka. He was like, there's absolutely no cop out for them. They have to take ownership, they have to take responsibility, because they can't make excuses saying they haven't been playing enough of ODIs, right? Now, England, if they bat first, they 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 have this baseball approach, even to ODI cricket. They're like, if they're batting first, they want to put 600 runs on the board. And if they're chasing, they want to chase a 300, 350 in 20 overs. That's the approach they come with. Now, do you think clearly in this tournament, this approach hasn't worked at all, right? The case in point being them being all out for 156 in the last game. Do you think this approach is something which they're going to continue going forward, just throwing caution to the wind and just sticking to what they think? Or do you think they're going to come with a lot more cautious approach, given that now they cannot afford to lose a single game going forward?
Okay. So I think this part has two aspects to it. If you see, the baseball approach basically started under Brendan McCallum under the Test era for the English squad. And if you go to see, that is a completely different ballgame. Of course, there's not many fielders outside the 30-yard circle, first of all. You can take that added advantage of a risk. And not only that, it's not about, in a 50-over game, you have to plan your innings. You can't just, it's not like a T20 or a T10, which people play the franchise games where you can just go on hitting from ball number one. Because there's a lot of thinking involved. Like, there's a different phase of the game. In the middle overs, the spinners come in. Starting, you get a bit of help from the bowlers because there are two new balls from both the ends. So ball does tend to move around for the first 10 overs. So you got to be a bit cautious. So I think the baseball approach will need a bit of remodeling in India, especially because of the conditions how they are playing here, and it doesn't seem to work. Like, if you go to see, out of 5 they've lost 4. It probably just worked against Bangladesh, who lost even today against the Netherlands. So that doesn't prove a point where their baseball is actually proving really helpful for them. And considering that they are in a do or die situation from here, they have to win all the games. I think we got to come up with a bit of more cautious approach. Probably just just take their mind back to how the ODI cricket should be played. Put a respectable total. Suppose they're batting first, reach a 300, 320 mark, depending on the pitch. Or suppose it's a slow pitch like in Eden Gardens, probably just 270, 280, because it is a competitive total nevertheless. But what we have seen from England is they're going too hard too early. So they have succumbed to scores like 150 all out, 200, and not able to probably win games easily. And not only it's not the matter that they're losing by big margins, which sees them at the bottom of the table right now with the worst net run rate. So I don't think the baseball approach means it's their point of view. They might still continue it, but talking in aspect of the game situation and how the World Cup is poised, it technically should not be a sound decision for the English management to continue with this approach in the next few games at least.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think, Sriram?
Yeah, I strongly believe that they have been, using that baseball approach, but in a different way. They're just fighting to get their boarding cards and go home early. And now I see that they're also looking to get their aisle seats and window seats. Considering a long travel. So yeah, that's the baseball approach that they've been doing. See, I see that England would be successful in this approach if they play in countries like the England, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, or even in the UAE in Dubai conditions. This baseball approach will really work. One reason is because England players are known to play on top of the ball and on the rise and on the bounce, which is definitely not here in these conditions. So when they try to play such shots, they're not able to succeed against fast bowlers. And now when it comes to spinners, England have their trouble playing against spinners by default. And on top of that, whatever bounce that they expect to play, it's not coming. It's definitely not coming to their bat. And that's where they're getting the top edges, the leading edge, or even say LBW or being bowled. So they haven't been successful with the baseball approach. And I also strongly believe that England have to have that defensive approach where they need to aggress in the first 10 overs, play the defensive mode from over number 10 till over number 30, slowly accelerate until 35 to 40, and from 40 they will have to go berserk from there. That's when I feel that England can contribute with the bat, and they are also someone who has the strongest batting lineup in the entire tournament. On paper, all the 11 can bat, which no other team have. At the same time, they are the only team who's got more than 6 bowlers. 8 people in their team can bowl. That includes Joe Root as well. So on paper, they look the strongest of all. And even when you look at the predictions on the top four, all the experts and even the below par experts also, they never excluded England. Everybody had India and England on their top four. So when you look at baseball approach, when they knew that it didn't work for them in those two games which they lost, they will have to regroup, which they haven't done. They're still doing the same mistake again and again. And now I feel that now they have nothing much to lose. All they have is, game of net run rate. So since I feel they don't have nothing much to lose, I guess they will still be doing this baseball approach, and it's in their DNA now. I don't think they'll stop. They'll be doing the same thing what they've been doing in the previous games.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with it, and probably they should, in my view, they should continue doing that. If you particularly look at the game today between Australia and New Zealand, the way Warner and Head paced their innings for the first 20 overs, they were like almost like 200, right? And then if you look at the middle overs between 21 to 40, 41, there was actually a slump. Although they had given them a great start, they didn't continue at that 10, 12 and over between overs 21 to overs 40. But and in the last 10, the likes of Cummins and Stark and others came and accelerated and made them achieve this 388. Now, if England actually are able to protect their opening pair and have a fantastic partnership to 150 odd within, let's say, 15 to 20 overs, I think that'll help them put a pretty massive score on the board. So in that sense, I'd say that probably they might tend to stick to what they've been doing, because why change their mindset? But anyway, just coming to the next question, Rishi, your top three picks between England and India. Top three for England and top three for India. Just name them, whether it's a bowler or a batsman.
Okay, so first I'll start with England. I think for England, the top three will be Joe Root, one of the main bowlers there. I'll pick probably a
bowlers.
Sorry, Joe Root as a batter there.
Right.
Moeen Ali as an all-rounder as well as a bowler in those conditions. And the fast bowler which I would like to go with is someone like David Willey. Most likely he might play, though he might be substituted, but I don't think so due to the struggles as well. So David Willey will be one. And of course the opening pair, that finally will be the opening pair of David Malan. He has to, if he clicks, England clicks. So he's been in terrific form. Like we have seen it as well in the South Africa series and even the World Cup initially, how he can play and take the game away. So for England, these are the main players. If you go to India, I would say Virat Kohli. The way he's playing in all the 5 games is absolutely remarkable.
Do you think he's going to create history tomorrow with his 49th?
Hopefully, we all hope so. He almost got in the last game, but not to be. So hopefully he can get it tomorrow in Lucknow. So Virat Kohli will be one for me. Then of course you can't miss out Bumrah. He starts the game so well for us, like with his bowling. So that is another pick. And someone like a KL Rahul in the middle order, I feel, because whenever there's a problem, the way he handles the situation is really remarkable. And finally Rohit Sharma and Kuldeep Yadav. These are the main picks, are the main star players to watch out for me tomorrow from the Indian team.
Okay, that sounds pretty standard. What do you think, Sriram?
Yes, I have my 3 for England. That would be David Malan. The first opening game he scored 100, and after that he had a very rough patch. I'm pretty sure that he's very much due for a big number, and I'm quite confident that he's going to score against India tomorrow, maybe even 100. I'm not very sure, but there are chances. And the second player that I'll really go for is Rashid, the leg spinner, Rashid. Adil Rashid. Mm-hmm. Adil Rashid has got excellent record against India and in India. He's troubled a lot of batsmen. So I have a feeling that he will do much better than Moeen Ali. Moeen, the thing is, he's a finger spinner, and those revs are not anymore, in his process. The revs are very less. And even when you look at the pace, He's darting it a bit more than how he used to before, and people are easily hitting him. So it's going to be Rashid for spinners, and for seamers, I would go put my money on Willie. He's going to trouble Rohit Sharma tomorrow. There's going to be one ball that he's going to bring in, because I noticed that Willie, he keeps throwing the ball outside, but there's that one thing that comes in, and that's going to trouble Rohit Sharma. I don't see Rohit Sharma going to score big tomorrow, and Willie's going to take Rohit Sharma. And when you look at my top three picks for tomorrow, I feel Kohli is going to score big tomorrow. I'll again put my money on Kohli, and he's in sublime form. He looks unstoppable. The other advantage Kohli has is that he's really good against the pace bowling, and he needs the ball coming to the bat, which the English guys have been doing to all the teams. They literally dart all the balls to the batsman, and that's where they're able to score. I'm sure Kohli is going to relish that, and he's going to score big. The second player I would predict is going to be Shreyas Iyer. He's going to score big tomorrow. And in bowling, my one pick will be Mohammad Shami.
I think Shreyas Iyer, don't you think the English men are going to test him again with the short balls?
They would, but I feel that he's going to find his way, because the entire world knows what's his weakness, and that includes him. So I'm pretty sure he must have worked his way out. And I feel he'll also be in when there's Livingstone bowling in, Rashid and Moeen Ali bowling in, and he's extremely good against spinners. So when they are in, I think he's going to unleash. And the third player which I have,
he never seems to be learning with his short ball weakness. Is he?
No, I'm pretty sure he's going to do well this time. It's going to be his day
Okay,
tomorrow.
good. That's very optimistic. Good. I'm also hoping. I'm a fan of his as well. Fingers crossed.
And then Mohammad Shami would be my third pick. He's going to take wickets. He's going to take wickets, and I'm pretty sure he's going to surprise everybody with cutters. He usually don't ball cutters. I'm quite sure he's going to ball that tomorrow. Considering the outfield, the size of the ground, there's going to be high chances that he's going to ball cutters and short pitch ball for the pull shots. Taking the catches in the boundary. So I feel Shami is going to excel well tomorrow.
Great, excellent. Some interesting picks there. Before we move on to the predictions, maybe just a quick technical discussion on the DRS system, right? Based on what we saw in some of the DRS decisions today. I did see a couple of interviews, and there's a very strong view and discussion going on amongst people that look, you've got to, if you're using technology, use it 100%. There is no 98, 99, 99.99%. It's got to be yes or no. So given that when we use technology, we are giving that a little bit of leeway in favor of the umpire's call, especially when the ball is just clipping, the stumps. Is that something which you guys believe that should continue, or we have to be either 100% technology or no technology at all?
So I'll
start with.
Okay, so basically, yeah. Okay, so I feel like the umpire's call was introduced mainly for a reason to give the on-field umpire an advantage, because he sometimes might not have a clear view, or he might have what he feels on his judgment. But if you go to see, if an umpire gives out on the field or not out, suppose in this situation, if he gives not out, the advantage is already with the field, with the batter. So when the opposition team, the bowler, reviews for believing that it might be hitting the wickets, and he sees that it is being umpire's call, you can see the ball actually showing that it is hitting the bails of the stump. And as you all know, if it hits the bails, it's out. So I think though we are giving the umpire some leeway of doubt there, it can prove to be harmful for the player's point of view, because apparently if the ball hits the stumps, he's out. Like if you see, suppose there's no pads involved or there's no barrier to it, it is ultimately going to hit the stump, which is the bail. So that person will be out eventually. So I think if you go to see in that point of view, anything hitting the stumps should be termed as out, whereas anything missing even by a margin should be called as wickets missing. There should be no umpire's call duration in that, because okay, yesterday you could say it's a league game, but what if it happened in a semi-final or a final game? That would have been a turning point in a huge favor of the other team. So I do think umpire's call, it's high time we remove it, because we have technology for a specific purpose. Like technology is used to give a correct answer. It's not used to create doubt between that. Okay, if the on-field umpire has said this, it is his leeway or decision, because it can go either way. Umpires call not out favor of the batter, out in favor of the bowler. So it is a very dicey topic. Like I don't think the umpires call should be there. Like I think it high time they should change it to either wickets hitting or wickets missing. And in line with that topic, there's another topic where we see the pitching in line. If you come to know that with the stumps, if you know, the 50% of the ball has to be inside, and then only it's termed as pitching in line. I did see a few experts talking about like in various sports like tennis, badminton, or any other sport generally. If you see any part, if just touching on the line as well is termed as in. So there are a few opinions from experts where I saw that should that rule be changed as well, because basically all the advantage is going to the batter in that type of view. We have seen so many times where it's pitching outside leg, but ultimately it's showing wickets hitting, not even umpire's call, wickets hitting. So suppose, I mean, okay, pitching outside leg, fair enough. But if it is at least a small part of the ball is within the line, I think that amount of leeway should be given to the bowlers, because it's their hard work at the end of the day. It's basically where they want to pitch the ball and ultimately hit the wicket. It's not like as if they're providing it way outside the line. Even a small part, probably if you see a 25% of the ball is inside the line, according to technology, it should be probably in favor of the bowler, because he has done that hard work of bowling in that channel and trying to hit the stumps at the end of the day. So these are the two things which I think technology or the rules of cricket can change as we go forward, because the game is evolving. There are a lot of talks about ODI cricket as well as the format. So I think with the generation moving forward, we do need a clear viewpoint regarding these two things. And I think these two changes in the rules might just prove to be beneficial for the game, for the players as well as for the spectators to view it. So there's no confusion or no debates going forward in the upcoming years.
Great, great. I love those insights, and I do have my views too. But before I, did give my views, Sriram, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I 100% agree with whatever Rishabh said on the clipping the stumps. So on that part, I 100% agree. There's no question. There's no doubt about clipping the wickets. If it's clipping, and if there hadn't been any leg before the wicket, it's going to hit the stumps. It's going to clip the bails off anyway. So it should be an automatic decision where it has to be given out, no matter what it is called on field. It has to be out. This is my opinion, and this is the same concern which MS Dhoni had back in the days. He was completely against DRS. This is the one main reason that he had, and there was another thing about the centimeters where it pitches, away from the batsman. I think that rule they modified it later. But why MS Dhoni was against this? Why a lot of Indian players were against the DRS? This is the reason. If it clips, it has to be out. Otherwise, we don't really need a technology for this. And coming to the ball where it pitches, whether it's in line or outside leg, I feel that if it's outside leg, it still has to remain pitching outside leg. It can't be given out, because it's going to make it very difficult for the batsman to play. This all started from the test match. If you've seen, they ball from outside the leg where the batsmen kick it out. So they have that leverage to kick off those balls which are pitching outside the leg. So this is something that they really can't disturb, and the batsman has got only one chance. If he's out, he has to go in. But for the bowler, he can always have his multiple chances to get a batsman out. So I feel that this could go completely, against the batsman's chances to score big or to carry on in the crease, and this will change the dynamics of the game. So on the first part, I agree with Rishabh. Yes, it has to be out. If it clips, it's out.
Yeah, so I have a view on the second part. I think on the first issue, we all agree. I think on the issue regarding pitching outside the leg stump, I'm sure all of us would remember the ball of the century from Shane Warne to Mike Gatting, correct? It pitched the first ever ball of Shane Warne. It pitched outside the leg stump, okay? And it bent behind Gatting and clipped his off bail, okay? And he was out, right? It was bowled. Totally, I mean, miraculous delivery. Now let's imagine for a second that in that particular delivery, Gatting had got his leg in between, and it would have hit him on his legs. Of course, he would have been given not out because the ball pitched outside the leg stump. Correct? Now, the fact that he did not get his leg and he let the ball pass and he was bowled, he was out. So clearly, there is something amiss in terms of the rule of if the ball is pitched outside the leg stump, the batsman should be given not out regardless. Correct? To me, that rule itself has got to be changed with technology coming in, because even if it does pitch outside the leg stump, all you need to think of is, okay, if the ball was left untouched, then the ball would hit the stumps and the batsman would be bowled. Just by virtue of someone, just putting in the leg in between and the, ball hitting the leg, and the batsman's not given LBW because it pitched outside the leg stump, even if the technology says that the ball is going to hit the stump. So on that front, I'm kind of with Rishi that they've got to change that rule. But that's easier said than done, because it's going to go back. It's going to require people to go back to the basic fundamentals of cricket, right? So, but I'm just going to leave it there because this is a very debatable topic, the second one. But let's move to, because of the paucity of time, the more interesting aspects of this discussion. Let's go in for the prediction. Who is winning? India, England tomorrow. Rishi, India or England? And in one short sentence, why?
I will say clearly India. One of the main reason is form. But saying that, I'm not going to leave out England because they have nothing to lose. They've already lost 4. They're going to come hard at us. It's basically like, you have also fallen in the well, they'll take you with them. So they're just going to go with that approach. But I just feel because of the form India is, I'll go with India tomorrow.
Okay. India. What about you, Sriram?
Surprising call, England. I call it an England's game tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm happy to say my reasons, but what is your call? Who do you think?
I also think it's going to be England, and my reason is as follows. One is England's going to be playing like a wounded tiger, okay? And secondly, and more importantly, India has got to lose somewhere, right? They've had 5 wins on the trot. I actually want India to win the World Cup, and if they can afford to lose a game, it's probably tomorrow's game, right? So that's the reason. It's a combination of what I think, I think will be the winner, as well as who I want to be the winner, because I want India to be the loser tomorrow, because then for the next 3 games they'll kind of come back and then probably go on to win the World Cup. So that's my pick. Yeah. Now let's go and pick the top 4 semi-finalists. Rishi.
Okay, India, South Africa, New Zealand, and I have to go with Australia, though I didn't feel that at the start of the tournament, but it's a clear 4-8 gap right now. It's a 2-win gap between the top 4 and the bottom half of the table. So it's going to be India, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia for me.
Sriram?
So my top 4 is going to be India, Australia, South Africa, New Zealand.
Okay, so it's the same 4, but the order
same
is different.
4, but I'm splitting the order considering the points table and the other things, other factors.
Okay, okay. Even I'm going to be picking the same 4. My order would be India, South Africa, New Zealand, and Australia.
Okay.
So that's
nice.
That's my pick. Let's see how that pans out. And with that said, gents, thank you very much for this wonderful discussion. And we're going to reconvene in the next 24 hours to have a post-match discussion to try and see how well our predictions have kind of panned out. And look forward to seeing you then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks for hosting.
Cheers,
Thanks for hosting. Thank you. Thanks, Rishabh.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy the game tomorrow.
Great honor having you. Yes, you. Thank you.
Enjoy the game tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, you too.